Hello, hello. It is day 156 of my 365-day raw suspending disbelief journey. It is September 25th, 2024, and as I was sort of like finishing up my stuff, getting ready for bed before I hit record for this, I was thinking about what have I been suspending disbelief about lately? Because I feel like sometimes I get into the weeds of the lessons that I'm learning, or the little hacks and suggestions and tips that I have to share, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like it's been a little bit since I've really, pardon me, connected into what am I suspending disbelief about, and I do need to actually pull up my original thing that I created, the thing that I wrote out of what I am manifesting, what I'm suspending disbelief about, which I know had a lot to do with finances and all of that, but I need to revisit it. I also realized we're coming up on not really the halfway mark, but in another 9 or 10 days, we'll be at the point where there's 200 days left. Exactly. I almost thought that was today. I got my numbers switched. But it's like, really, I'm noticing the milestones as we go through the year here. And I'm realizing more and more when I focus on it, when I reflect on it intentionally, the level of suspending disbelief that I'm doing has really, really elevated over the last 156 days. I have gone from suspending disbelief about really small things to suspending disbelief about really big things, as well as still the small things every day, and just having it really be this way of being that I'm in most of the time, if not all of the time lately. And part of that is what is bringing about that balance that I've been talking about lately, but also it's just become a habit, and habits take time to build. So 156 days in, well, now I'm really feeling it as it's a solid habit. So that's an incredible thing in and of itself. But so as I was getting ready and thinking about what have I really specifically been suspending disbelief about lately, I realized the list is really big. I have had just today, for example, I had all of a sudden all of these problems arise out of nowhere, to highlight that my son is having problems at school. Okay, so there's this list, a laundry list of things that all of a sudden came up. And I say out of nowhere, that's not necessarily true. It's just that they seemed really small in little pieces. They've been dropping ever since school started. None of them seemed connected, and all of a sudden it just sort of all came together today. So I had his teacher sent a message. It wasn't, there was no anger, there was no resentment or really even any negativity. It was just like, hey, we had this incident today, and just informing you in case he comes home upset or this, that, and the other thing. And it somehow connected the dots on all these little pieces that he's been telling me. And so I sent a message to the teacher with this list of things that he's been talking about, and just saying like, hey, these things have been slowly coming to my attention. I didn't mean to save them up as a big long list, but here's the things he's been talking about. And we're only still in the first month of school. So what can we do? How can we work together? And so on. And I can just think of, like, not that long ago in the past, if I had that original message sent to me, I very well could have taken it as an attack on my child, gone into mama bear mode, gotten all angry and worked up, and the way that I responded to her would have been very different, which would have probably produced a very different result than what happened. But I was suspending disbelief that this could be easily resolved, that it didn't need to be a big deal, and that she wasn't intending any sort of negativity, right? And going into it just from that different perspective completely shifts the outcome, right? I had this teacher reached out, and honestly, I my mom is a teacher, my sister is a teacher, I have friends who are teachers. I have a high level of respect for teachers and the job that they have to do. It's not easy, especially in the school systems that we have. They do not have the tools and the everything at their disposal that they should have, really, when they're caring for our little humans. And um I, ultimately I respect them even while being sometimes frustrated with the school system itself. And so when she reached back out to me to say, "Oh, Matt, like that's a long list," right? She was like, "Can we have a call? Can I call you?" And instead of messaging back and forth. And my immediate response was like, "Oh my gosh, like teachers work way too many hours. It's later, like it's evening now. I don't want you working in your evenings, like all of this stuff." And she was like, "No, you know what? It's a lot easier than during the day if I just do it now. I have this time while I'm going to be waiting for my husband at the airport and this, that, and the other thing." And I was like, "Okay, okay." So I, again, it was like I had these old version of Brianna thoughts that came up where it was like, should I record this somehow? Like, does this need to be recorded? Do I need to be concerned? Do I need, and coming at it from that negative or worried or, um, just thinking about all of the negative possibilities perspective, and then shifting into just like, nope, I've got this, suspending disbelief about this. It's going to go great. And we got on the call and I was blown away. It was just like, nope, this teacher really does care. She's doing her best. She did not know about and or understand these different things that have been going on. And now that we've had this conversation, we have a great plan in place moving forward. I know that she's on my team. She knows that I'm on her team. And my son gets to know that we are all on his team. And we get to have a whole different experience going forward for the rest of the school year instead of, starting the school year off really negatively could spiral the rest of this year for him or even the rest of his school career. So it was a hugely pivotal pivotal moment, um, that had I handled it wrong could have had a huge negative ripple effect in my son's life. And maybe there's no such thing necessarily as right and wrong as far as how I could have handled it. Everything is a learning experience. But at the same time, I was able to choose where I was coming at it from, right? And suspend disbelief about there being no other option than a positive outcome in this case. And it went better than I could have hoped. And I couldn't be more grateful. So there's one. I also have had, with the sheer volume of things that I have to do, um, I'm even going to rephrase that I'm choosing to do, um, to maintain the momentum that I built through August and the beginning of September, despite the workload that is coming with it. I'm still choosing to do these things. So with everything that I've got going right now, with everything that's on my plate, with all of the many, many balls that I'm juggling right now, um, I also just started today a new program, the Offer Evolution Circle, it was born from my Simple Sales Challenge that I did back in August. But I was really feeling the pull to do this one. I was really feeling like this is the next step for people, all of these kinds of things. So I've been selling it. I've sold some spots. It's not as full as I want it to be. I'm not done selling it, but I started today. And if I don't fill it fully, that's okay too. And I'm going to take that as okay, well, my workload for it will be lesser. And that is a good thing in and of itself. So I'm running this program, and I knew obviously I've known for quite a while that my first live training that I was going to be doing for it was going to be happening today, the first thing this morning after dropping the kids off to school. And with everything else that I've had going on, I have not been able to make it the number one priority to prep myself for that training. And it was like, even that half hour from when I got home from dropping the kids off to when the training started, I didn't even have let me rephrase this. I was choosing to do other things instead of that. And I was suspending disbelief that, you know what, I just know my stuff. I know my stuff so well that I really don't need to prep a training for this. I can just go. And this one wasn't even so much of a training. It was like, I wanted to do a walkthrough of the program. It was a kickoff call, a welcome to the program call, especially not actually actively doing a training because I'm suspending disbelief that there are more people coming into this program. Because group programs, I do want to have more than just a few people, just so that it's the most effective use of my time. I'm serving more people, making more money, and working less hours for that amount, right? So I'm suspending disbelief that more people are coming in. I suspended disbelief that I could run this call without having written down a single note about what I needed to do. And it went epically smoothly. I went through everything I needed to go through. And I also had time with the one lady who showed up on the call live to start working on the program with her and to start actually actively doing it, which is really incredible. And just doing that offhand and doing it with complete confidence and not feeling the need to like, okay, well, we're not going to start yet. I'm going to put that off until we have everybody all settled and everything's all good. There would have been things I would have said or thought or done to delay that work that we accomplished today in the past. And I feel like my level of confidence, and I've always been a fairly confident person. But and and I would say even like over the last couple of years, I've gotten to the point of like delusional confidence. I just know that I'm good, that there's no need to be uncertain about myself, kind of thing. But this is another level. And not just because I was confident to do a training without having a plan, but just this, going into it without a single grain of like fear that it was going to go badly, just completely suspended disbelief and was just like, nope, we're good. and, and then to have it go perfectly. Right. So it was just like, it was great. Other things I've been suspending disbelief about. I have my in-person on stage talk coming up October 7th and 8th, is the event. And I am, it's not that I forgot about it. It's that there's been so much else that, again, it hasn't made it up into those like top of my priority list because it's like the due date wasn't here yet. Right. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, that due date is looming really close. And I was in my emails and I'm so behind on my emails because of everything that's been going on with all this tech. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. There's these emails that I missed requesting like our speaker bio and our headshot and all of these things, and those were supposed to be submitted a while ago. And I was just like, Kate, I'm going to suspend disbelief that I can still get into this thing. I've paid for it. I'm doing this, and I'm not going to do it in a shitty way. I'm not going to do it with, they don't have my materials and I'm not on the pamphlets or, like whatever, like, nope. It's still going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And I just started responding to the emails, sending the things that they were requesting and moving through it. And by the time I got to the last one, it had only been sent 2 days before. And she was saying, please get it in ASAP. And so clearly it was still okay. So it was just like, again, that confirmation, that just choosing to suspend disbelief and just move and just do the thing anyways and just be confident and just trust, is still working out in my favor, right? Still just, I'm really getting the confirmation consistently, like, yep, you're on the right track. Yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, even though it's so much, and even though it's, right at that level of like, I'm at my limit. I'm not past it. I haven't crossed the line, but I'm at my limit. I am I'm staying there. I'm maintaining it. I'm maintaining at a different level than I usually ever maintain at, and feeling at the same time extremely balanced, feeling like I've got a good balance in my life. My laundry is caught up. My house is fairly clean. It's messy sometimes because I have 3 kids and a dog and I'm busy and all these things, but it's picked up most days and it's actually pretty clean right now. And um I have been moving my body. I have been taking care of me, right? I've been sleeping as much extra as I can, because especially on those nights when I am tempted to and sometimes fall into staying up a little bit later than I normally would. But it's been nice enough weather. I've been either walking or running, as my youngest has gotten faster on her bike, and now biking along with the kids. Thanks to my mom, who gifted my daughter and my son in the future, when he's bigger, these 2 bikes. And so one of them I'm using, and it's my bike for now. And um, doing this twice a day. So not driving to and from the school, but they want to go on their bikes. And a lot of the time I'm like, I don't have time for that. I am exhausted, or, whatever excuses, and just being like, nope, we're just doing this and going with it. And I set myself a goal to be moving, either walking or biking, on a gradual increase over the next few weeks. Of like, it was 3 days the first week, and 4 this is the second week of that, and so on. And because I'm doing it both ways, I'm technically doing like double the amount. And I'm sore, honestly. I am sore, but I am also feeling really good that I'm moving my body. I'm also taking the time to eat. I'm also, I'm doing all of the pieces. And maybe for some people that doesn't seem like a big deal, but I will say that with ADHD, it is a huge deal. It is a huge deal to be doing all of those pieces and to be maintaining this super high level of task load that I am managing right now, and doing it all calmly, mostly calmly. Um, I have my moments, but for the most part, I'm just in this sort of, I'm in this, like, I'm okay. Everything's okay. We're good. And just having this deep clarity where I can very quickly move to the next task and the next task and the next task and the next task, and keep it moving and keep that momentum. And even in my lower energy periods, knowing what to do to maintain that. And it's just this, it feels like this evolution, this up level of like how I'm managing my life. And it's not perfect. And I still have my weaker areas, and they are all growing and improving. And I know that that is sort of just the trajectory that I'm on. I have this deep, deep knowing and this confidence and a full suspension of disbelief that that's moving upwards no matter what. Um, at this point, I feel like my frequency, I guess, so that whole concept of frequency versus vibration, again, my frequency is above even where I'm living at right now. And my vibration is just daily, slowly and steadily moving up to match up and align with that frequency that my soul is vibrating at right now. And I just, that is just a pure feeling of like, this is what is, and this knowing and this deep, steady confidence. Um, and yeah, it just, the examples that I just mentioned of like, I have this talk coming up. I haven't even written my talk. I'm like a week and a half away, and I'm like, I haven't even written that thing. And it's funny because I mentioned it online in a group of women that I'm in, or a group of entrepreneurs that I'm in. And one of the ladies commented, and she knows me fairly well. She knows my human design. She knows, you know, the combination of my human design and the ADHD and all the pieces. She's just like, oh, perfect. You're like a week and a half away. You're right in your genius zone. Like this is when you get your time to shine. And that's true. Like when it comes down to a deadline, that's when I really crack down and when I really get things done in a really epic, powerful way. I don't know why. Pre-planning is not always my strongest point, but when it comes to down to the wire, get it done by a deadline, it ends up being powerful. So I actually only have a few days. If I want to submit like a PowerPoint, if I want to have slides or, whatever, all of these things. So I'm really down to the wire and it's like, okay, it's go time. And it's just, I don't feel panicked about that. And that is surreal. And even the people who know me and who know how much I normally handle and are usually like, how do you do all that, are looking at what I'm doing right now and going, how? How? And it doesn't feel like it's by force or by stress or, like I'm just doing it anyway, even though everything else is falling apart, or I'm just doing it anyway, even though I'm stressed to the nines or anything like that. Like, it's just, nope, I'm just doing it. It's just happening. The momentum is just consistent. Everything feels stable. And my life is in balance. Again, not perfectly. I don't think it ever is perfect. And if it is, it's very, very momentary. Right. It's a constant striving to be in balance. But I really feel this consistency with the balance that feels really incredible right now. So yeah, just sort of celebrating that, reflecting on really the extreme differences in types of things that I'm suspending disbelief about, and that every single time it is working for me. There is not one that I can think of in this entire 156 days. Maybe when it comes to like dollar values. And I would say that comes down to my level of belief. So if I try to suspend disbelief and I can't quite get there, and then the full result doesn't happen, it lines up, right? That's aligned. It makes perfect sense. And so for me, I feel like there's not actually one specific example where it's like I suspended disbelief, I fully got my belief behind it, and then it didn't happen. No, that has not happened, not once. So if you're listening to this, if you are following along on this journey, suspend disbelief. Just do it. It's not always easy. It is sometimes overwhelming, and the shifts can happen very, very quickly, which can also be overwhelming. But it works, and it works every single fucking time. I promise you that. So there is my my impassioned speech for the night. I'm going to bed. That is all I've got for you guys tonight, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.